Alright, what's up everyone? Duquesne23 here, and oh my gosh, this is amazing. Oh, if y'all saw my face, I should have probably recorded. If y'all seriously saw my face whenever I was watching that IGN video over Forge, oh man, I was so excited. I had like adrenaline pumping, my hands were actually shaking a little bit. Y'all are probably like, that's really sad, Duquesne, that your hands were actually shaking a little, but they were. I am so excited for Forge, but guys, let's go ahead and get into this breakdown of the Halo 2 Anniversary's Forge, and this is, seriously, it's unbelievable. I'm like, oh man, I love 343 and Certain Affinity. They have done a great job. It is unbelievable what they made. They have pretty much brought in things of the community, what the forging community wanted. They pretty much brought in a ton of that stuff, so they did an unbelievable job. So the first thing is that this Forge map is called Awash, and remember guys, there will be a total of 3 of them, so this is one of the 3. We still have 2 other Forge maps that we know nothing about. This one is very similar looking, at least, to something like Forge Island, where, you know, the blue water, the stuff in the background and everything, and guys, this is all skybox type of maps. There won't be terrain already on it and everything. But there's 2 other ones, so I'm kind of wondering if they're gonna kind of pull like an impact one, like one up in space and stuff, and then even possibly like an erosion one inside a cave, but have it the same size as Awash is. That would be really cool. I would really enjoy that, or possibly not necessarily one in a cave or up in space, possibly one inside a city, like where there's a city surrounding the giant forge area. That would be kind of cool, so you can have somewhat of a map being forged in a city. So we're gonna have to wait and see on what those other 2 maps are. So one of the interesting things to look at it with this new Forge is the natural palette. This includes terrain, rock, and foliage. Now, we already knew that there was going to be terrain, but we didn't know exactly what it was, but now we actually do. But in the terrain section, there is flat terrain, cliff terrain, and hill terrain. All of these you can go between small, medium, or large. You can select whichever ones you want. And, you know, I was a little bit sad at first because there was only 14 of them left, and I was like, 14? You know, thank you so much for giving us terrain, but really only 14 of them? I was like, that's not really that much. You know, we can't really build that big of a grassy area or something like that with only 14. But whenever they actually turned and shown the, you know, entire forge area, and they already had a massive island, like there's 3 islands that were already built and they were huge. So apparently there's only 14 left, but you can still build all what they've shown, and it is crazy. That's unbelievable. And I wonder how many terrain pieces that you can place. You know, maybe like 100 or more, I don't know. But you can place a lot of them, so that is really exciting. Then there's also rock pieces, and there's a rock 1 and 2, and those you can select between a small, medium, or large. And then there's a Spire 1 and 2. There's a C-Stack and a C-Stack Small. And the thing is, on these rocks, there's 98 of those left. And with that entire forge area being built, there has to be, I don't know, 150 to 200 rocks or something like that. It was ridiculous. So that is amazing. Maybe about 150. I don't know. Maybe 125. Whatever. You could still have more than 100. So that is pretty exciting. Also in the natural palette, there are trees, and you know, there's tree 1, 2, and 3, which you could select small, medium, or large on all of those. Now that's all we got to see. Now I think there's more trees than that, because later on I noticed that there is a actual tree that looks like it was dead and stuff. So you can apparently place some dead trees, and I'm guessing they're small, medium, large of dead trees and stuff. So that's really cool. You can add it, just not the typical looking tree stuff. And one thing that I really love about the trees is that they are extremely detailed. The trees look so beautiful, and they're extremely detailed, and it's very well done. Which of course the entire map, the rocks, everything are extremely detailed and look really well done. So that is something is unbelievable. And again, there's about 113 trees left. So maybe there's about 150 of them. I'm not really sure exactly how much, but that's still, there's 113 left. But that still tells you that there are quite a lot of trees that you can have on a map. Now then they go ahead and they place a gungoose down, and you know, there's 14 total gungoose left. So that pretty much tells you that you can maybe put about 20 to 25 on there, because I didn't see too many gungoose around the other maps, so maybe 20 to 25. But that's still a good amount of vehicles. That's just the gun goose that you can place. So then you can place probably the same amount of warthogs, you know, and wraiths and scorpions and ghosts and normal mongooses, which of course mongoose and gun goose was under the same category, and but then also banshee and stuff and hornet. So that's really awesome. You can place quite a few vehicles on the map. Another great thing that has come back is the precision control, guys, which this is what they call it. They call it precision control because there's multiple things in it. It's also, you get the precision movement like what we've had back in Reach, but you also get precision rotation. So now you can rotate things a lot slower and, you know, more precisely. So that's really nice. They call it now precision control because you can just do more than just one thing with it. So that is really exciting. So one of the things that I am kind of disappointed in, not like greatly disappointed, just a little bit sad, is that there isn't an option, you know, at least that we haven't seen. There is an option to maybe turn off generate lighting while in Forge. You still have, whenever you're switching between a human character to the Forge ball, you're still going to have to go through that generate lighting. Now, it doesn't quite take as long, and of course, the bigger the map you build, the more it's going to take to generate the lighting and stuff. But the deal is, like, you know, it's not really that big of a deal. Like, you know, yes, you're not going to be able to switch in and out immediately, but if you're getting all these awesome things, I can deal with generate lighting. And, you know, but of course, you know, there's possibly something in Halo 5 they may be able to add that toggle in there to change it, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But, you know, this isn't really that big of a deal. It's just, that's something I wanted to point out. And another thing that is amazing about this Forge is that you can place other dynamic elements that were in other Halo 2 Anniversary maps. So, you know, like the Zanzibar or Stone Town's little, the door and stuff that, you know, gets, like whenever you trigger it, it lowers down and stuff. You can place that down. You know, you can place, of course, the EMP from Bloodline and stuff. So that is really awesome that they're bringing in the other maps, little dynamic elements that you're able to actually forge with. And how you're actually able to do all these things, like with the EMP and the door and stuff like that, is you control these with consoles or switches. And of course you have these blue arrows that are also involved with them in Forge, which I'm guessing those are like hills or something like that. But this is a part of the simple scripting. And whenever you use this switch, it pretty much, you can set up the console or switch or whatever to where it can do the EMP, you know, like Bloodlines, or you can open up gates and stuff like in the Zanzibar or Stone Town. And you can also do things like you can blow up vehicles. You can activate a console, which they show that you activate a console and it blows up the surrounding vehicles. Now, I don't know if those vehicles were triggered to blow up or if it blows up surrounding vehicles in a certain radius. But we'll have to wait and I guess get more details on that later. But it's pretty awesome that you're actually able to do that. Great mini game ideas are already coming to mind with that type of thing. But then, of course, you can do more things like where you can spawn in vehicles with these consoles. You can also spawn bridges and also despawn the bridges. And they also mentioned that someone in Certain Affinity, they actually were able to spawn an entire racetrack with these consoles. So that's pretty awesome. So you can literally spawn your entire map with one of these consoles. That is so cool. Another cool thing is the fact that Zanzibar's blue screen, like the original Zanzibar blue screen, it shows up on the console whenever it's used. So that is pretty awesome that they threw that in there as like kind of a little Easter egg. Another thing that they added into this Forge is that you can place race gates into Forge. So now your, you know, checkpoints won't just be out in the middle of nowhere and it looks kind of awkward since they aren't, you know, there is no barrier going around the checkpoints or anything. So now you can actually have race gates and stuff. So, you know, each checkpoint could be inside a race gate if that's what you want to have. Of course, if you don't want to have it, you don't have to do that. But it is really nice to be able to add some race gates. Another cool aspect of Forge is the fact that the water only goes about a foot deep. So that now there is no reason to put a grid inside the water, you know, a foot down or something so people can run in the water. The water only only goes a foot deep, so you know you can't also die in the water. You can't like drive off into the water and die. So that would just be place of, you know, soft kill and kill boundaries. You just place those around your map to make sure people can't get out. But you know, I really like this. I like the fact that you can do that. So now if you don't want people to go in a certain part of the water, just put a soft kill boundary down, and that will keep them from going in the water and stuff. So it is really nice that the water only goes about a foot deep, so you can have some nice battles on the water. They also showed the banshees off, and yes, that is plural, banshees, because now we get multiple types of banshee. We get the heretic banshee also. Now I don't know if there's more than that. You know, I can't think of any other banshees besides those, but still though, like it's nice the fact that there's multiple banshees now. You can have your normal looking banshee, or you can have the heretic banshee, which that is pretty cool. It's a nice little addition there. That means each team can have a different style of banshee, which that is pretty cool. And one of the last things that they showed was that you can completely recreate Beaver Creek, or Battle Creek, I guess, whichever one you want to say, in this forge. Like, it looks very close to how it originally looks. And so one of the things that really impressed me is the fact that they used, on this map that they created, they used 555 objects out of the total 650 object count. Now, but the performance was great. The performance wasn't lagging. Whenever they actually flew in close to the map, it barely dipped like away from being perfect. So, you know, that won't have any performance issues, you know, until you get like the performance meter goes way down to the far left. But, you know, it barely moved to the left from the far right. So really, there's going to be no performance issues at all. And that's using 555 objects out of the 650 object count. So that it's unbelievable that, you know, you're able to build that big of a map, put that much detail in it, and it still, you know, performs really well. So that is very exciting. I'm very excited about that. And it still leaves you with about 100 objects to be able to place. And look at the size of the map that they made. You know, people are going to be creating huge maps. They created a huge map on here. And, you know, it's going to be unbelievable what people are going to be able to make with this. So, guys, that is my Halo 2 Anniversary Forge breakdown. If y'all enjoyed this video, please give it a like. You know, I put a lot of work into it. And also subscribe for more Halo custom maps once Master Chief Collection comes out. And also, you know, probably some Forge tutorials and, you know, just other Halo videos and stuff. Also, guys, go check out forgechannel.com. It's my own website. You can submit your own Forge maps there. We talk, you know, in the chats and in the forums and stuff about anything custom games, anything related to Halo at all. It could be campaign, could be competitive, can be customs, can be Forge, just whatever. We just talk about it. You could set up your own game nights and everything there, where it's set up on a calendar and stuff, where people can join in. So, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I guess that is it. And I am so excited, and thank you so much, Certain Infinity and 343, for doing this. I love y'all. Seriously, I love y'all.